Okay. We are on unbelievable levels of we are so back. There are 3 pieces of news that I really want to share right away that will knock your socks off and make you nut because one, Mechabreak's release date is officially going to be on July 1st, which means that we're probably less than a month away from the actual release now. Number 2, there are 2 new strikers that have been released on the developer stream that I can finally talk about. And 3, there are 5 new maps, or at least 5 new maps, that are going to be released on July 1st. And boy, oh boy, I am really excited to talk about everything that is released so far. Oh, plus there are a ton of changes to Mashmack and different game systems that are all going to be explained towards the end of the video. So we're gonna cover all that right here, right now on channel Axolotl, I guess. So here is the timeline for all the lore drops that are happening. So on Friday, June 6th, we got this cool, but like sort of not too exciting Summer Game Fest trailer about the release date, which is July 1st. Then today, we just had a developer interview from Chris Mecha Break himself that gave us a lot of information on what they have been doing since the February beta. And what they have been doing is literally changing the entirety of how Mashmack works and also incorporating a ton of community feedback. So they gave us a stream where they unveiled a bunch of new changes and talked about how they're going to go forward in the future. But most importantly, I wanted to talk about some of the new stuff that are coming first, especially the 2 strikers. And I kind of just wanted to say it is incredible how fast and how willing they are to implement all of the community feedback that we've given them. And this is not just from the NA players, obviously, but it is also from the Japanese players and the Chinese players who have given all their feedback as well. On June 23rd, they're going to give us another sort of developer stream about this game. And that build that they're going to show off on the 23rd is probably going to be the final release version that we'll see. However, right now, I can't contain my excitement. So we're going to go over some of the cool stuff that they just dropped on us. First up, the 2 new strikers. Now, we've kind of known that the first striker that I'm going to be talking about here is out there for a long time. The community called this striker Umbra, and that is just a name that they gave it. But essentially, the new Solaris striker is going to be a stealth dual blade assassin kind of striker. Also, one of the things I want to mention before I go too deep into the Solaris breakdown is that they did mention 12 strikers are going to be free upon release, which means that they have 3 strikers unveiled. I think it is Solaris, Inferno, and Sarinith. We'll talk about Sarinith later, that are going to be sort of locked behind some sort of currency. Most likely on the stream, they talked about the red currency being the thing that you need to unlock some strikers, just like the February beta. But hopefully, we'll get to see how fast we can actually earn each new striker. Back to Solaris. Solaris is what I imagine playing Gundam Quanti, or the Double O Quanti from Double O, obviously, best Gundam series of all times. It is what I think the Double O Quanti with stealth is going to play like in an actual game. It has 2 dual blades, and each of the blades have their own combo. And they sort of act like Dark Souls weapons, where they have a standard strike and also their like weapon arts ability. And so there is a crescent moon sort of ability with the left blade. I think that is the green blade, where you're able to like do a range slash at someone. And the right blade is like this red blade that you can charge up and do a spinning slash with it, which is super cool. by the way. But did I mention the fact that Solaris also has stealth, sword bits that like chase people, and also it has a grappling hook? We can just put grappling hooks on every mech. Honestly, just put a grappling hook on every mech and we'll be happy. However, that actually reminds me, I did a video like way back in the day talking about the sort of concept arts that Mechabreak had in its early development stages. And one of those concepts is Panther with a grappling hook. And I believe that Solaris is what came of that. Now, Solaris is more of a sister mech to the Narukami frame, but you can see like the resemblance with the curved heads and everything. But also, I do believe that Solaris's main sort of loadout is what came about early development for even the Panther. We do have to recognize that there are going to be genuine combos to explore here with Solaris because there's two melee weapons that have combos, right? So like normal melee weapons in Mechabreak have a combo string. It's like an auto combo string that usually, you would do like a stab and then a slash. It doesn't mean that you can spam both of them at the same time because they do have different knockback modifiers, but it does give you a lot of flexibility if you're good at playing fighting games and stuff like that. And behind all this excitement, if I look a little tired, it's not because I am being ganked by a stealth Solaris. It's because I spent the last month working on this Mechabreak International Tournament movie. It's like an hour and a half. And I promise you, it's pretty good. And I recommend you check it out if you have any interest in competitive Mechabreak. And I also want you to probably check it out, not because I want like views or whatever, it's not even monetized, but I want you to be able to learn from that video and be able to build a team of your own so that maybe you can be selected to go to China next time to fight against some of those top international teams. So check it out if you want. Link is in the description. The other striker that we got a peek at is Sarinith. Now, Sarinith is maybe even the complete opposite of Solaris. Sarinith has big radar domes in the back, right? Like she's carrying a dumpy, but it's not on the bottom. And Sarinith is a very lightweight radar jammer mech, but it also has very good laser damage or energy damage because its primary weapon is a chargeable laser cannon. Kind of like in Gundam Wing, there was the Buster Rifle. It's basically that. She basically has the Buster Rifle. And the secondary function of Sarinith is that she can call in an orbital laser from above. Yes, all of the heavy lockdown mechs are going to have so much trouble with this because the orbital laser increases in damage, from what it looks like anyways, when the explosion radius increases and the timer increases. So Sarinith can just call down cross-map laser strikes on your lockdown heavies, and also it can do radar pings just like a good radar mech can. Yeah, so overall, Sarinith is a super interesting mech that I think they're going to do more showcases of. It's more of a supportive mech, but because it doesn't have healing, I don't expect it to take the role of Tanaka or Lumine at all. On the Mechabreak website itself, there's been a lot of changes showcased in those little videos that showcase their abilities. So community members have been compiling a list of all of the changes that have been happening during the entirety of from Friday to Monday now, essentially. And they found a lot of things, a lot of changes. I hope you go and take a look at those things yourself and try to find out, what has been changed. I feel like most people play the 6v6 mode in Mechabreak. Tell me if you guys actually play a lot of the Mashmack mode back in February. I did try it out, but it wasn't the most fun that I've had in Mecha Break. I do like the 66 version more. However, let's talk about Mashmack for a second, because they've basically completely changed Mashmack and every system that it had. So first, mods only work in Mashmack now. 2, blue credits only work in buying Mashmack related items. And 3, and this is probably the biggest one so far, you will lose everything you have when you die in Mashmack. So in the past, in the February beta, when you died in Mashmack, you basically got to keep all of the loadout that you went in with, right? So you would go in and dive mostly for research material and stuff like that. And that's not the case anymore. When you go in with a full loadout, like a beam rifle, for example, so there's no more beam rifle spam, because you have to go in and actually find the beam rifle, and there's no more research either. So you're not guaranteed the highest tier of like beam rifle that's in the game. So that is something that plagued the February beta in Mashmack, but it is not going to be a thing, hopefully, in this new version. And what that does for us is it creates a more interesting loop. It's more close to the extraction shooters that we're used to, and it gives us more interesting and varied loadout micro, where like, oh, okay, I don't have a lot of resources, let me bring this lower tier weapon instead of a higher tier and try to gamble to find something on the ground in the fight. So there's going to be separate queues, right? I mentioned before that mods only work in Mashmack now. And because of that, they've given your mods a sort of score. And they've given your weapon loadout and your beacon and your gliders, whatever, also a score. And there are 3 queues for Mashmack now. One is the normal queue for low-level gear, low-level gliders, low-level beacon, low-level mods. Number 2 is the high-rank queue for higher-ranking mods, weapons, etc. And then they have another one called like survival or something, where you drop naked, no loadout, maybe mods, into the Mashmack map and just go and scavenge whatever you can. There's also other changes that have been applied in Mashmack, so let me just run through those real quick. First, I mentioned that weapons are tier-based now, and they do require you to bring and buy ammo with your blue credits. 2, the gliders are completely customizable now. Gliders are like a separate entity with their own loadout slots, so you can have like a rocket sniper or like a melee with a healing pod. Whatever you want, you can make. And then 3, there is going to be maybe a boss arena, because a new boss has been revealed, the Hellcat. And the Hellcat is like a mobile armor that's flying and can spam a bunch of laser beams. I'm pretty sure this is like an Armor Core reference that I'm not getting right now. But it is a very, very cool new enemy that we'll have to fight. But in the trailer itself, they were fighting the Hellcat in the Sky City map, which I'm just like, how do we get there from the Mashmack map? So maybe there will be like a teleportation device, maybe there will be like a separate boss arena mode, I don't know. We'll probably find out later. And that's pretty much it for all the Mashmack things that you need to know about, but hopefully we'll know more about the mode and how that's gonna play out with some like actual gameplay from the devs on June 23rd. But you know, for all of those cosmetic gamers out there, there is so much for you. Like most of the developer stream is about the customization and everything. So achievement levels are gone, so you can walk through the hangar with every functionality. And also you can become gender fluid because you can switch between the male and the female pilots just instantaneously without paying for it or anything. The facial sliders are increased. You don't have to pay to change your pilot's faces. There are more panes and customization options. And also, you can take pictures in your hangar and manipulate the skeleton of your mecha pilot, which is crazy. I have never seen a multiplayer game do this. Maybe some MMOs have those like good like photo pictures with good poses and stuff, but I've never seen a multiplayer game allow you to manipulate the skeleton of your pilot, which I think is fantastic. And I just don't know how this relates to fighting mechs, but to be fair, half of all of the mech genre we consume anyways are about the people. And I did talk about this in a video way back about like the 3 things you need for a good mecha game, oh my god. And having pilot interactions, being able to relate to the pilot is a big thing on that list. So yeah, you can walk around the hangar all you want. You can also invite your friends to your hangars, it seems like, because I did see like an invite friend button somewhere on the stream. So this is gonna be a really cool social hub that you're gonna be able to share with a lot of people. And I think that is something that we've been sort of sorely missing from a lot of these kind of games. I mean, GBO 2 had a hub world and a hub space, but it was kind of bad. And I don't know if Mechabreak's hub world or hangar space is truly going to be revolutionary, but it will be really nice to bring everybody's pilot together on your team and take some photos, take some pictures, do a little silly, manipulate the skeleton for some cool poses. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I am also waiting on that June 23rd developer stream about some of the questions that I've had for a long while now. Particularly, like, for example, what about the matchmaking bots? Or what about how the monetization is going to be like? Those are some unrevealed answers that we need, I honestly feel like. But for the monetization, I'm going to be fair here and say, if they're rolling back a lot of the paid strikers kind of feel, I do think they want people to like be able to freely play the striker that they want. And if no game options are locked behind paywalls, then I'm already happy with that. A lot of free-to-play games die if they lock gameplay content behind paywalls. So at least there's that, right? What I am most excited for though is, well, basically they've done so much work in so little time implementing community sort of suggestions. And I've never seen a company so willing to walk back from a position that they had about a game, which is really cool to see, I think. I feel like our feedback has had a genuine impact in how the game is going to release in the future. And that just means that we should be giving more of our voice to the developers whenever you can. So as I always do, I encourage you to make your own videos, make your own posts, your own stuff, talking about what you want from the game. And maybe the devs will listen and they'll implement your vision. And that's about it. We are at a very, very cool time in history where Mechabreak is coming out in less than a month. I'm going to be going on a trip soon again, but I will be back before release for some more videos and stuff like that. Please check out the Mechabreak International Tournament movie if you want. And thank you for watching. Get some water, touch some grass, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.